The community chapel, does that mean she's still gonna like, do they have a South Bath? Like, do they have their church?
No.
They sold it.
So then she's not going to.
She's operating out of cleaners right now.
Okay, but in terms of like her, does she have like a?
She doesn't have a church.
There's no church. There's no following other than. Okay, so she's just because I know the funding comes out of New Brunswick, so they're not funding her anymore. I'm just kind of curious as to the first time.
Yeah, we're on camera, by the way, just so you know. The camera's going, ready to go.
Oh.
Just so you know, just say heads up.
Okay. The viewership just went up. Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
We're up to four. We're up to four, guys.
Yeah, we're at 0 right now. So.
Okay.
Just saying.
Andre, get back.
I was out there watching you guys.
Okay.
Alrighty then. So you're good, Jen?
Yeah.
All right, the 2021 financial plan.
Okay, so in hopes of getting this a little more this year in terms of how we proceed, I built a little bit of a schedule in terms of how this needs to play out for us to meet our deadline. Today I'm going to be looking at the capital. I know that was council's, let's get the capital done first. If the project's going to go ahead, we can approve that by resolution and treat it separate from the budget. So I did print out this year's budget for capital, probably what's going to be on the back of our financial plan for 13. And then I had a 10-year that we use loosely to run over the future. I'm sure most of, or all of these items are not going to be a surprise. And the discussions we've had in the past. Just open to where you guys to ask questions of me. My explanations around that thoughts.
Oh, did everybody look at it? I printed it.
I looked at it, but I wasn't sure. I don't think they were going through the detail, but I'll tell you some questions that I have there.
Sure, yeah. And this isn't the final kick of the cat?
No.
This is just to get
We're
this
just talking.
discussion started.
Just talking.
Right?
So if you, like I said, if you guys are comfortable with this today, I would take the resolution next week. If you're not, we can talk about this.
So a couple of things then, things we talked about before. Refresh my memory on what's the chiller for the, I know what the chiller is, but why are we buying one?
Because it's old and a little bit failed. We had an assessment done a few years back, and we said, this is going to go. You should be replacing this. And I don't think we had any other. I think it was just simple. I think to repair the leaks when we had to do that. So I'd have to follow up on that. This is just.
Well, that's my, like, so it's going to be like a new tanker. I mean, I get it. We need a new fire truck, but.
Oh, no, the tanker's actually rusted out at the bottom. It's leaking now.
Oh, that's what's happening now.
Yeah. After the flooding of the rig, I guess it must have been hard on the machine. They had to cut it open to seal holes on the inside. They said the whole thing is just rusted right out.
There's no repairing.
There's, yeah. So I think, one of the things Randy wanted to do was to, ideally, we would replace the tank itself on this. But we need 4 trucks in it. Based on our service area, we're supposed to have 4 trucks. This truck is a 1979 or something like this. It's extremely outdated. And to be out of service while we're replacing the tank is also an issue. So it is time to replace this vehicle, regardless. We do have the funds to do it.
For me, it would be, and I know I brought it up before, it would be very nice to have a little write-up on each of the items, especially the big ticket items, that says, this is what we're proposing to do. Here's the justification for doing it. And a couple of options, like we do nothing, we continue to have a risk or whatever.
Well, what we used to do in the past is we used to listen to all the managers do their budget, and in their budget, so Randy does his fire department, he would say, give his last year or no?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kind of?
Kind of.
It wasn't, we didn't have all the managers like revolved through, but yeah, we did have some discussion with a little bit more detail.
I don't think that'll be effective. I think it'd be more effective if you want more detail, just get it.
Well, I mean, we need some ownership from the guys, I think, when you're talking about capital, right? And
Well, when
so,
we're talking about, yeah, big,
you know, when I look at the skid steer, so my
Million
question would
bucks,
be, what are we getting rid of?
We don't have a skid steer.
So then why is it even now?
Because we could make good use of it. It's just,
Like, he's doing what? Well, then again, we're spending people's money.
no, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't say we have a lot of excess equipment here. And again, if you want me to do a write-up, I don't think that everything here requires a write-up. If
No,
there's
I
specific
agree.
items you want me to get a little more information on, that's why we're here, that's fine. So if, again,
I can send you a list of questions.
No, like you can just tell me now, what do you want to see? And I will come back with a little more information. Or I would love to do a write-up on that truck. Wasn't sure if it was needed. Again, some of these things don't require that.
Well, the thing is, I thought we didn't have enough room for all these trucks. So if we're gonna not get rid of them,
The other one would end up having to go to the airport, the old tank. One of our issues is that you can only go inside of a house when there's a fire if you have two on scene.
right, so
So if we have a house fire in town, we need 2 vehicles out.
so one truck's gonna come from the airport.
So one truck will be at the airport, the old truck that we bought for $21,000 10 years ago, it's a 1979, will sit at the airport and be used as a backup. Because that is the best use for that.
But I just heard that we needed to have 4 trucks for,
It's just for our area coverage, because we have now those properties out at the lake, which will require fire service. So, 2 trucks, we'll have 3 trucks in town, guys will roll out, there'll be a truck out at the lake, and then they can still do entry, right? So, again, I mean, if you feel like you want to have Randy answer these questions, by all means, I can get that right up from him and get a little more information. What he said to me made sense to me. I did see the condition of the truck. It is in very poor condition. Could we buy another used vehicle? Probably. Are we going to get our, they price high as well. So we're kind of humming and hawing the idea of buying new versus used. But again, this is something that we can certainly go on paper for you. It's not.
So this truck, this tanker, what is it used for?
For what?
But in town or when we do our?
This one will be in town.
This one?
The one that we have here will be relocated to the lake as a backup.
So this is a pumper truck?
No, this is just a tanker. The pumper trucks are like $800,000 a year.
So this just has
This
one?
is just it's a second it's a third apparatus, but it's just a tank with water. It's got a few toys and gimmicks on it, but it's a fire vehicle. It has extra cost associated with it.
So are these items, like are these items, like I see engineering work for bag shop removal. So is that coming from Sam and the guys saying that's one of the?
Yeah, so the engineering studies, they actually did have a study done several years back where they picked some of the worst areas of town and they did an analysis to determine where the money would be best spent on which locations if you were doing the work. So that was the list kind of on this 10-year, those were the items that got pulled out of it. Bag show is the worst and the one we spent the most time on. In terms of water breaks, it varies year to year, but definitely the worst. I think they're a little scared to tackle it because I think there was a lot of backfill sand with it. But, we have to pick something, and this was one that we had a pre-existing study for. And I can dig that study up. We won't. I had to put bag shell on there. I didn't put that on my capital expenditure. My goal here would be to have us do something to get a shell on it.
So this is, like when you say, this is the engineering work. So over 3 years, it's gonna cost us $500,000 for the engineering work? I'm looking at,
The 10 years.
yeah, I'm looking at the 10 years, sure, yeah. Who's this the years looking at? There's 250 in for 21, 200 in for 22.
It might just be an error. It's just going to be 250 is what we estimated.
Okay.
And again, what we were on now is bag shell is kind of the worst, but I would like to do something. I think that in the name of progress, we have a lot of really poor infrastructure in place. We need to have something shovel ready in the event that we can get grants.
No, it makes sense.
So for recreation,
We don't need to decide that. What's that, sorry?
for recreation, I see that there's the study for the pool and then there's the lighting. But I don't see, and please tell me if I'm missing it, because I've looked several times. I don't see anything for parks.
Parks will be capital for the most part. I think we're going to bury it into the, I just set the
Okay.
operating budget. I can push it over here. I feel like repairs of fencing,
Yeah.
stuff like that is going to be something that we should have operating. If we start talking about equipment replacements, I think that the bucks are pretty big, and that's something we'll have to talk about later. I don't know.
Graham, I thought we approved to do the winter pool engineering study this year.
Yeah,
These are carry forwards,
Yeah,
right?
these
So
are
these are
carry
work
forwards.
that we did.
Oh, no,
and we haven't started it yet, so I have it sitting here as a carryover. Chris did mention that there's rust coming into the pool now from the rebar behind the tiles. Again, there's issues there, and we want to work at it.
I know for me, and I don't know if it's in the works or plan, I'd rather, like, for the budgets, for the department managers, I kind of like to, because are we planning on having them come in at all?
No, ideally no.
How come?
Again, it's just a decision I made.
I would just like, just for instance, not that I'm gonna ask another question, it's like, okay, so work for bag shop. So if he tells me that, Trevor, we spend, on average, 50 water breaks every winter on the bag shop. We gotta do something, it's whatever. And I get that. If he's saying, you know what, I know it's an issue, but for 250, I'd rather almost do some resurfacing like we already did in other areas that we're all using, and then just keep patching it up. But if it's something where the guys are spending all their time doing, majority, and again, I don't know every single water break, but this year, for instance, I don't even know if I've seen them there maybe twice. To do it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Again, these are based on assessments of the quality of the infrastructure underground there. So I'm not saying bag shop on this, I know it says it on the 10-year plan, but all I'm saying is that we need to allocate money to do some infrastructure, a detailed infrastructure study at this point. You can tell me no, but
So we're not picking back shop.
no, that's just what we had on our 10-year, but I don't have it on my current year. I would just like to allocate the money and plan to do something. This can come back to council afterwards, they can give their presentation. I mean, the goal here is we should be putting something in place, a mechanism in place for us to allow to move these projects forward, right? Because what happens is, grant funding comes out, you need to apply. And if we don't have a study in place, we don't have something shovel ready, we're missing opportunities to do so.
I don't disagree, I just don't want to
That's
get the
all
impression that,
I'm-
oh yeah, I'm okay with this, and then I find out later, oh yeah, well, it was on the sheet, it said back shop, what didn't you understand, Trevor? So.
Again, the 10 years are always a little more loose than the 10 year was something I put in place. I mean, that wasn't even something we did before. It's hard to predict 10 years.
Well, everything changes every year.
Times change, every year we have something new we're trying to focus on. But again, to try and get something on the books here to plan to do it. Again, this can be approved. I'm not going to go ahead without council's approval on something like this. Like it's a huge undertaking, but I do think it's something that we should be considering.
The infrastructure study work that we're doing with ESAP, or what is it called, the stuff with that Chris was taking the course on how to do.
Yeah, the asset management.
Asset management. Is it tied into this?
Not really.
Should it be?
Well, eventually. Right now, I mean, we need a full asset management plan done. And it's a huge undertaking. And there's nobody here that knows how to do that.
Because this kind of relates to Andre's high-level infrastructure.
No, I know. I mean, there's obvious problems we can try and tackle in the meantime. But, I agree it needs to be done. But that, it could be a while before we do something like this in place. Was it Selkirk? Was it Selkirk the one that was the pilot? It took them years. And they were down the hole all the way along.
And there was something the province sent out last week about we must have something done by March.
Yeah, we report on the progress of where we are at plan every year. We're not very far ahead. We've been trying to develop some internal capacity. We're waiting on a grant. We don't want to fork over the big bucks needed to pay someone to come and do it. It's a And yeah, we're not by any means unique in the fact that we're.
It took Selkirk 5 years and 7 people
I bet you
to
they
do
don't
their
use
asset
it.
management plan.
And I bet you they're not doing it here. Well, I
Guarantee you they
hope
don't
not.
use it.
I hope not. They talk about it a lot, right? So,
1 year.
I would certainly like to see us again. My big thing was I was hoping we could develop some internal capacity, which would then lead to when we go out and get it done, we were able to run with it, we were able to use it. My biggest worry is we spend money, we do this, and we don't do anything with it. And nobody knows how to manage it. And that's a huge problem, right? So, you know, we are waiting on that FCM grant. I'm hoping that they throw some money our way. One of the things that I'm hoping as well is to keep developing some internal capacity. And Laura also taking these courses. We have kind of a linkage between finance and engineering when we put this together. Something that can carry forward. We could have one person who knows how to work this stuff.
So, because it says municipal asset management status report due March 5th. So we'll get more report.
Yeah, and I do every year. It's just an MMO form. I click through boxes and I submit it. You know, they've been to date pretty forgiving in terms of what's been done. Like I said, we're not unique. It's tied to our federal gas tax fund. So at some point, if they were to start stopping down or making sure it happens, that those funds would halt until then. However, they will reflow once we get it done. We are sitting on a big chunk of that money right now, so I'm not overly concerned about that.
The capital budget, is it consistent with council's goals and objectives that we set out?
I think it is. There's always things on here that don't necessarily tie to what you guys are asking for because you don't have a whole story. You don't necessarily concern yourself with operating issues. These are the things that we're going to be adding in. They certainly need to be in there.
Is there something in here for the garbage collection and landfill study?
Yeah, the landfill study's in there. I have an idea over later on. There's not much to say that I'll cover that day. There's a collection study. Again, both carried forward from last year. They're doing elevated. We'll keep pushing forward.
It is in there?
Yeah, it's up at the top.
It's on the top, they're both on carry forward. But I didn't think the expansion feasibility study was a carry
Oh,
forward.
that's
was
the
it?
environmental collection.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For the first.
Oh, and SWDG, waste disposal grant. Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's twice to me, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the S?
Secret.
Super.
Secret?
Super.
Okay, there we go.
Supreme.
Supreme waste disposal.
Just getting back to something here, Greg.
I think it's super. Wasn't it called the super dump?
No.
Something.
I can't be right.
So when they did, let's just pick Bag Shop. When they did Bag Shop, when they did the planning assessment and everything else, and did the whole thing or whatever, was there not an engineering study done at that time?
No, just an assessment. Right?
Okay, so now this time is
This
just,
isn't an engineering study. This is a detailed plan. So this would be the drawings, the design, and we're just be sitting there waiting to apply for grants to get the job done. So the grant would be, you know, we have a project here. It's ready to go. It's designed. We apply for grants. The money comes in. We're tendering.
Okay.
It's on.
no, because it's just a replacement job. Like you can hire a contractor just to put it in.
No.
Oh, yeah, you
No. No. I'm sorry, you are not correct. It absolutely needs to be engineered.
Okay, because it's actually a replacement type thing. What's the water and sewer system assessment?
The water and sewer, so again, something that was carried forward from last year. I think they were looking at Restaurant Alley. There's some significant problems there.
Oh, that
with
grease
respect to
trap.
Grease traps, and they have to go in there very often to clean them out. So that was something that they were looking at.
Is there a way, like, I was talking about this on the weekend, I know Savins knows, really understands it's an issue, but to, like, our bleeder system program, is there a way to, I don't know, like, try and reduce it, or, I don't know, I was adding up the amount of gallons that are being used at my place, for example, and it's just like, it's in the millions, just one place.
And it's not just you guys, there's actually dead end meters as well throughout town. You know, even, I'm trying to remember, if you remember back in the last council,
Yeah.
I
53% of every gallon, or 53% of all the water that we treat is gone. We don't use it. Correct.
It's not an easy solution. I know they were looking at some options like having these dead end flows where it would like cistern and they go back out. And big dollars, right? So something we've been working on the last couple of years. Like we don't even know how much it's going.
What's the cost of producing gallon water?
I'm not sure. I'm not in front of me.
But see, this is always my struggle with this. We're spending all my money and everybody else's money on these things, and I gotta kind of be sold so that when a guy asks me, why did you buy that? I can say, well, damn it, you had to buy it because this is what you're saving because of that. Just like the boiler, right? That's why I keep asking that we need to say what we're saving for the boiler because we can tell people it's a great investment in 2 years, it's paid for itself for 3 years. And so when we talk about all these other things, like we should know what the cost it is to produce a gallon or 1,000 gallons of water. Like we should know those type of things.
I mean, and again, if you need that level of detail to make that decision, that's
Well, I do because I'm looking at a return.
And again, I can help work on that. Some of these things, it doesn't matter. Like the cost is just a failure to provide those services when they go down.
No, I get that, Graham, but it's even like the skid steer, right? So you want to buy a new skid steer? I'd love to have a new skid steer too. But okay, so what are we going to use that skid steer for? Like, what's the benefit back to the community? Not that we got 100 things to do. Like, what am I going to tell Joe neighbor that says, why do you guys got a brand new skid steer for $115,000? I could say, oh, because we're doing this and we're doing that. It's a great idea. But I can't even do that right now. I mean, and I get it, like, a tanker truck, it's got a big hole in it, if you can't use it anymore, I mean, that's good, but I'm not even sure I really have a good understanding of that because, we're gonna keep using it, we're gonna move it somewhere else.
I get it, and I get what I understand what you're saying. So we'll pick on the skid steer because it's good, right? So what do we do now without one?
Use the loader.
We use the loader, we use the grab. It does, again, it reduces our capacity right now. I mean, you can look around town right now, you can certainly say that we haven't been able to tackle all the snow removal we would like. There's certainly been some issues, especially in the smaller areas. Our tools are all a little bigger. The loader's great, the backhoe's great, but a skid steer would help us with a lot of the smaller areas, cleaning up the curbing around sidewalks, on the ends of my streets. It would help us with some of our relationships downtown. There's definitely areas we could make better use of this, and the attachments on a skid steer, like the brushes to clean up the bricks, things like that, we could definitely use. Is it something we could live without? Maybe. Would it add to the quality of service we can provide? Yes.
Well, I'm not saying live without it, I'm just saying, tell me why.
Well, and that is the rationalization.
One of the biggest things with the skid steer was the asphalt paving, or asphalt repair. Using a smaller machine and using a big backhoe to haul asphalt around.
But you have like pretty well, what's your utilization on all the equipment? Like, is there stuff that's parked now, or?
It's almost all our major pieces of equipment are used very regularly.
So how are we going to manage if we got another skid steer?
Because we do have individuals that can use the equipment that are not being used for those jobs right now, right?
So with the skid steer as well, would we be getting, and I'm looking because I need to know what a skid steer is. Would we be getting all the attachments as
Some of them,
well?
I mean, not everything is
So
applicable to
belts
us.
and
There certainly is some that are.
We're able to do the job now, right? We get it done.
Well,
One way or
the level of expectation, right?
Right, but it's just a commentary, because we've just signed the check here again tonight. I noticed many times throughout the course of the year, the town needs aerial lifts. Like, they change the lights, they open up things, right? Wouldn't it make more sense if you had a real must want to have? Wouldn't you guys rather have an aerial lift as opposed to a skid steer?
There is people in town that supply the service. I mean,
But there's lots of people in town that got skid steers too,
Yeah, well, that's true.
Lots of them. So it's just a commentary, right? Because
I mean, again, I rely on the people who are in these positions to identify the pieces of equipment they feel will be most useful to them in the department. I'd area lift is another one.
Well, it's their preference of equipment they want to work with. look at the arena, and I don't think they've ever disposed of an old one.
No, we do, absolutely.
Well, I don't
We sold, I
think
think we sold 3 trucks last year.
I don't know, that, you say that, and then you still have the same sidewalk plow.
Yeah.
that we were supposed to get rid of 6 years ago.
The trucks, I mean, we'll look at our fleet sometime.
Oh, no, I'm not saying, I'm not talking about the trucks, I'm talking about equipment.
Yeah, I mean, we do have, I don't know, our sidewalk plow is the one we use, but,
I'm not, this whole thing, and whatever, maybe you guys are different. I'd rather, no offense to you, Graham, I know you know a little bit about everything, and which is great. But, you know, I'll go back to the chiller at the arena, so the guys who came last time said it was old. So now, I know when the furnace went on my place, I said to the guy, keep it going, buddy, keep her going. And then finally he said, Trevor, it's done. So, and then it was done, I had no other choice. Now, I know we don't want to be stuck in a hockey season, but are we making a $175,000 decision based on the last time they came and had all those issues with the ice? That seems like what we're going on. And I don't expect all this extra work to be done. The skid steer. I'll say yes to the skid steer. Hey, listen, our guys are spending this time here, screwing around with the sidewalk plow, and then they're backing this up, and then they're leaving the machine. They're going back to the garage, picking up the backhoe. By the time to do this, to clear one street, one area, it's all day long. If we had the skid steer, we could do 4 streets. Awesome. Okay, that's all I need to know. And it goes on and on and on, like with all these things. That's information, unless you're like listening to stuff in your dreams all overnight, you're not going to remember that. You shouldn't have to know that. That's where it's like, you know, the Centennial Park lighting. Is she talking about the one by the arena on the back? Like, is that I'm not sure, like, the air scrubbers. I'm assuming that's from the fumes in the fire department, or is that where?
So you're jumping around a lot, let's focus on just one thing. I can't answer questions beyond one thing. So,
But it has the same theme.
No, but it doesn't really, because let's talk about the arena chunk. This is a carry forward from last year. So this presentation was made last year, you guys accepted it. So, I mean, I can have them come say the same thing to you they said last year, but it feels like a bit of a repeat to me. I don't mind, I can do that. It's in there and carry forward, because I figured, why am I going to?
Well, let's just hold on here, okay? I can't remember absolutely every single presentation. I'm remembering what you said 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago you said, the guy said, the last time the guy came in here, that they said it looked like the machine needed to be replaced. Okay, so what the presentation they did 2 years ago, a year ago, 3 months ago, or last year, whatever it was, I have no idea about. I can't remember. It's
I
not
know,
in my
but
brain.
then we've also cobbled through another hockey season, right, with the same chiller, obviously, right? So, how did we make it through, how did we? No, I know it wasn't in use as much, but it still, it made ice up until last week.
I don't want to have a shitty machine that's going to break down. I don't, but at the same time, it's like,
Okay, but I think, if I can, all the carry forwards, we've already covered that off in the previous budget.
Well, and again, you can deny them now if we haven't started.
But it won't impact taxation to do it, because 2020, we already collected the taxes on it.
Well, none of these things directly affect taxation.
Well, we committed to
this, right? They have the money hasn't come out of reserves.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't mind going back and circling back on some of these items. It's not a real big deal. That's why I'm bringing it here now, early on in the season, so we can have those discussions. You know, and I can't necessarily answer everything, but if there's, you know, I'd like to at least narrow it down to specifics of what you guys are looking for, so I don't waste my time doing significant write-ups on items you don't care about. Like that's a waste of my time, and a waste of my guys' time. I'd like to just focus on the stuff that you do care about.
Okay, so could we get just some justification on the equipment, like the trucks? You know, what are they getting rid of? Why they need them?
Well, and I'd like to know how we're replacing 2 trucks, 3/4 ton and a half ton for $40,000 and $35,000.
Well,
We just bought 2 3/4 tons for $44,000 2 years ago.
Brand new.
This is based on actual purchase.
Really?
the skid steer,
Yeah.
the skid steer needs some support.
Sure.
Okay?
And the fire tanker?
The fire tank needs some support.
something we'll be able
with the 100,000 for the lighting, that's going to be like telephone pole, green metal
the
lights,
lighting,
right?
the lighting is something that, John has been putting together. We don't quite have it nailed down yet, but this is kind of what we think the cost is going to be. We're going to tie it to our streetlight grid, is the idea. It'll go along that park, it'll go along, it's been identified as an area in the past where there should be lighting on that walking path. Anyway, it's not perceived as safe.
Is this lighting the ball diamond?
No. We're talking about, just kind of talking about whether or not we should have it in there. I think our goal is more to have the light on the path, that, lights up the area that we use for the outdoor rink. We do plan to, obviously, there's some grants that we kind of fought to find for this. So the $100,000 is not going to be all our carrying costs.
Yeah, I don't think either.
Oh, wasn't there some discussion about change rooms or something at the splash park?
When?
Oh, maybe last year.
We had talked about it.
We had talked about
We had
it.
talked about it but it was never a serious discussion. We quickly talked about washrooms.
So that study of the garbage, that was a carryover from last year. So just, and again, maybe we talked about this before as well. So what happens with that? So someone has to, is that something that we just put on Parks and say, garbage collection study, please? Or
well, in this case, this one's low enough that we could probably just get quotes, but I think we wanted to tie it into our expansion facility because, the same groups of people typically do the same kind of work, which probably a benefit to doing it together. We identified these separately. At the time, over the last year, we were trying to work with a company, I'm not sure I say names here, but there's a company that does this work almost exclusively, and they've been involved with us with soil remediation in the past. And we've been trying to get them to help us put this together so that we can put it out for RFP or tender. It hasn't matriculated, and so we talked a little bit last time about maybe going another route, getting something softer to study because a little bit further ahead of the start, so we can get ahead on both these initiatives. The collection study, I mean, I think it's going to tell us what we want it to tell us. That a new truck is going to see a savings of 2 people, but it's going to cause all kinds of problems with our logistics in terms of picking up the garbage. Our alleys are pretty narrow. Can we make that work? And it's going to have a price tag. It's going to be roughly $1 million to put that in place. Our garbage truck does have a few years left. So we always try to maximize its usage. We want to kind of line those things together. I think the dump itself is more of a concern at this point than how we pick it up. I know we have a truck and staff in place to pick up the garbage right now. Are we going to have some particular issues?
Yeah, for sure.
So what is our date? What is our magic day we need to have everything completed by?
Tonight.
Ideally, you guys, ideally we'll have the public hearing on the 26th. We can meet that in the 15th deadline. So.
Are we going to do anything early?
April 26th.
Yeah, so that do we have any work that needs to get into queue early so we don't have all the resources fired up?
Again, getting the capital in early, would be advantageous. We can start moving on it. That was always kind of a concern of the council. We're not passing the budget, so that we have to start chasing capital in June, and then by year end, we don't necessarily have anything done. So getting that solved by resolution earlier could open up a little more time for us to play with this.
The public hearing, April 26th.
April 26th would be probably the last day we do it. Now, this is just using regular meetings. If you guys were interested in meeting special meetings, we can definitely need more times in the middle. And we could pass this late. We still need to get this submitted to the province May 15th.
Okay, so the rest of the budget, the operational side of things, more or less is going to be the same as last year, I'm thinking?
Similar, there's going to be some things like, obviously the CSO we're going to budget for parks. When it comes to it, I'll give you kind of a list of where I see the new items that just draw your attention to. In general, the operations are going to be fixed, right? Not a lot is changing, so it's pretty easy to identify the things that are.
It's hard to make any one decision in isolation.
It is. It's very hard.
It's hard.
But again, the big picture is, if the service is to remain the same or be better, it's going to cut costs on the lines. So that also has to be the decision. Are we providing too much service in some area? Does council feel that, do we want to cut back somewhere? And usually the answer is no. We just want to cut costs. And then it's a question of, okay, well, what are we cutting?
I think it's about achieving value more than cutting service, right? Like, value for dollars, it's, a diminished rate of return. And making sure that we're getting proper value for the dollars that we spend is probably more important than the level of service provided.
I mean, to speak to that, you can only control so much, right? We manage at the best of our abilities. Hopefully, your hiring managers, your hiring to watch this. Things improve, right? Nothing improves overnight, and nothing is, big changes don't necessarily stick around. But ideally, in the long run, we're going to become a little more efficient, a little more clean. We get better at things. We have a young crew in a lot of ways. We have a young crew as managers. We have a young crew out in the field. So a lot of times, we work out, we struggle with that a little bit. But I feel things can continue to improve.
So you'll get some supporting information for us?
Yeah, on the campus stuff, absolutely. This is not a problem. And again, if I can bring it back to the meeting, or I can send it out as an email, and maybe you guys can decide if you want to see these.
Send it out as an email.
Yep.
We'll review it.
And
And then if we need to call a special meeting to do it, then let's call a meeting and
great, yeah, absolutely.
Destination marketing committee. Okay, so I was just Googling now. For the record, I don't believe that I have a bona fide conflict of interest based on the Municipal Act and what I read. That being said, I'm going to excuse myself from this discussion and pass the chair over to Carrie, because clearly the Destination Marketing Committee has issues with my participation. So in the interest of self-preservation and a couple of other things I don't want to say right now, I'm going to excuse myself from this part of the discussion. But as I said, based on the Municipal Act, I don't feel I have a conflict of interest on the Destination Marketing Committee discussion. If we were talking the accommodation fee, completely different deal. On that one, I would have a conflict of interest on that one. Two separate issues. So, Ms. Carey, the floor is yours.
Oh, the gavel.
Oh, it's in the drawer.
Get Trevor within.
It's in the drawer.
So I guess 1.2, Destination Marketing Committee, which is the Assistant Chief Administrative Officer. Jan, are you wanting to speak to this? Is this on you? Is this your shift sheet or thing?
I mean, and I know we had our visitor today, I think Herb's the one that actually brought this up, so to have this on here, I mean, it's probably an opportunity to have a discussion about where you guys see this going.
There's lots of information.
There is a lot of information here. The synopsis is the new bylaw has a very narrow scope, right? I mean, it doesn't include things like who's on it, how long they serve, things like that. It just has a very broad kind of, it has to fit this category, how it's being dispersed, and by this committee. Now, the committee is accepted by council. talking about spending, you know, even for recreation, we should be talking about planned spending. You know, we want to see a skate park, we want to see something. We save that money up over time with intent in mind. We don't pool money into a pocket and say, this is for whatever slush fund for whatever projects come up. I would like to see this treated as tax. I would like to see this bylaw change to impact yearly taxes and let us make those kind of decisions on an annual basis. Now, that changes this completely. And you don't have to agree with it, certainly. I mean, but in this current format, it doesn't address the issue of who's on it, or how long they serve.
There's a whole bunch of issues there because, you know, it's back to I thought originally that the hoteliers and all this other stuff, that was the work of the government. It's not. What they did with the bird thing and all that kind of stuff, they have the right to do. You don't have to have a hotel or anything. So the first thing I think we ought to decide is what's the philosophy if we won't even want this committee to go ahead. Because if it is something that you want to go ahead, then the philosophy needs to be okay. We're placing these people in there. Their mission and all their other stuff needs to be, they have to present, I guess, and get approved by council rather than continually going back to 45, 35, which basically says they pretty much allocate money to wherever they want, and there isn't an issue, right? And that's where I didn't agree with the bird thing. I don't think we bring any people in, but at the same time, my word really means nothing now because they do have the ability to do it. So I see where you're coming from, but then if the money is coming in and it's to help support more people coming in for hotels, should we be supporting that kind of heads and bed type of mentality? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's...
I guess my 2 cents is, I did appreciate the additional information tonight because it did make a lot more sense that there could be, and maybe it would have been here, Chad was here, he could have shared that information with us, but it did make more sense that there would bring visitors. It's a bigger picture than I originally thought. So it was great that they did that. The second part, though, is, and I always go back to, and we've had it in discussions with other things, it's what you do, and what you've been doing is really, and when I look at things, is the way you're operating. Whether it's written in a law or written in a rule, if this is how you've always practiced it, then you kind of got to make a decision to say, we're not going to practice that way anymore, we're going to go back to the letter of the law or the rule or the bylaw and say, this is how we're going to do it.
See, and I don't think there's been any big wholesale change, like on the destination marketing committee. I don't think there's been a big change to say, no, we're not focusing on heads and beds anymore. And I think that's still pretty much everybody's goal around the table is to continue on that path. And unfortunately, I did miss the last meeting, and I probably could have shed a little bit of light on the Paso Trails grant application. But, you know, I don't think anybody sitting on the committee is going in with a different notion than what's been set out. That it is to create the community as a destination, whether that be through specific events or enhancing the community as a whole. And I think that's where
I guess my point is, I don't really disagree with their project. That's not the concern I have now, is that how should the process be? Do we want it to be a hotelier? Because that's kind of how we've been practicing it. And looking back in history, we've always been in that position with a Dashkin, hotelier, appointed by this council.
But in defense, he asked to, and they said they didn't want to.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not defending, I'm not saying what they did is wrong.
No.
I think, what Dave's done is and what the group's doing is fine. What I'm saying is that us, as a council, we need to make it very clear of how that structure should be.
But I guess what I'm getting at though is, so let's just say you can't get anybody, but it says in their bylaw, there has to be.
I never said that you have to have it that way. I'm just saying that, let's just make it clear is that if you want it to be just anybody we want it to be, which I'm fine with, then that's fine. If we're saying that, because we've always practiced that there's a hotelier on there, and we want a hotelier on there, then we need to say we need a hotelier on there. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm okay with the way it's operating today. I always, like you, I was under the understanding, and I was on the committee when I first came on the council, that there had to be a hotelier on there. That's what I was told by the CAO and everybody else that was around. So let's just make sure that, in my opinion, let's just make sure whatever we're saying is very clear and it's in minutes somewhere or whatever it happens to be, and that's the structure and that's it.
Like, going back to what Dave was talking about, like, the hoteliers are a collector of it all. So when the money is collected, the fee or whatever it is, like the percentage, goes to the government and then it gets given back.
No, we're the government.
Oh,
The town belongs to us.
So, okay, so how does it, how does it originate? I go and rent
It's a
through.
5% tax on
Okay.
whatever the bill is. So
Okay,
if
so how,
you pay $100 for the room, you're paying $5 accommodation tax.
okay, but how is that, like, how is that?
The hotels write a check every 3 months, or I don't know how often.
Yeah, but it's on the honor system or what?
Well, they submit a report. We have the option to audit them. We never have.
No, I know, but that's what I'm getting at, like, so the money comes from the hoteler to the communities, there to the municipality.
Hotels collect the tax and then they
Okay.
remit it to us.
And then we remit that money to the DMCC.
No,
No,
it's
and so
It just
right now, so a little bit more history, I guess, and maybe you guys are familiar with this or not, but originally the DNC used to have a lot more power. They used to have their own checks books, they used to sign
Yeah, we
their own
went through
things.
that last time.
All they do now is they just send in a resolution to me saying, we have approved this grant, pay it at 90%, the check goes out. That's the practice that's in place right now. You know, we could request more information.
No, it's just I didn't realize,
Yeah,
like,
but
how
the money
the
stays in our
collection
bank
was
account.
done.
There was a separate banking line that was coming as well, that they had the checks for, but, you know, in the effort of saving money and making these things just into our bank account, we do the checks. Nobody there has to worry about administration or anything like that, recording this, sending the updates and recording our budget. It's just nice and clean. They just have their meetings, they decide on what they want to support. That's it.
So in your talks to other municipalities, has this structure, is this a common one? Or is it more of the municipality just decides upon where their plans of whether it's recreation?
It varies. You know, the amounts that get put aside for different things vary. You know, and sometimes some more is included in the operating budget. I know Jen did a little more research on this, maybe she can comment.
Thompson's is a lot like ours.
Thompson's is like ours. I think City of Winnipeg and Brandon do something a little bit different in terms of where they allocate.
They're a lot bigger.
They're a lot.
I guess what my biggest
I mean, that's-
question is how is it broken down? How is it
It
broken?
goes 50% to that community enhancement fund, 25 to destination.
No, I don't mean how is it broken up? How is the DNC broken?
Broken?
Sometimes broken.
I see what
Yeah,
you're
we're
saying.
not, there's money, of course. What do we need to fix? If something's not broken, why do we need to fix
Well,
it?
again, there's two ways to
How
look at this.
broken
I think
is
it's a
it?
clarity.
Yeah.
All I think is clarity. I don't think there might not be anything broken.
I
I
would
don't
like,
think it's clear.
I would like to see them go back, take the terms of reference they're going by that's not approved, finalize them and get them approved.
Yeah.
I think for their own.
So you want them approved at the destination market
Yes,
committee,
yes.
and then submitted to the town to be
Yes.
attached to the budget?
Obviously, there's a need for them because you guys are using them. So then why not let's use them in reality then, not go back to 4-5-3-5 when in this situation so that we have it down that a hoteler, if that's what the destination committee would like to say they have for sure, what the terms of reference, how long it's for, like you have to have some working document that says this is kind of what we're going by. Not just up in the Bible.
So what is the biggest difference then between the first first one and what we're wanting possibly to change to 4455.
Sorry, 4455.
4535.
Again, you're not necessarily, we'll have to change the bylaw to include some of this verbiage, but again, if council likes this setup in its current format, but just wants to clarify for them so that there's no more conflict internally about these questions, it would be, looking at the terms of reference, ratifying specifics about how this committee runs, what its composition can and cannot be, how council members or how board members are approved, right? So just lining that up would just take the question out of it. I don't want to keep harping on like, just give it back to me. The other issue I have on this is because of the definitions of the money, it's led to problems in the past. And again, I made a chat, remember what happened with the lake lots, when we developed those, and some of that money was used for the development of the lake lots. The ombudsman came in by call and told us, well, it wasn't even told the town, you can't use the money for that purpose, the town has to pay it back into the reserve. Because they looked at that strict outline of what it can be used for, and they said no. So by putting these strict terms on it, we're committing to using that money for that purpose. We just, again, have to be very careful that it doesn't go into different.
Well, I
Creates
agree
those silos.
I agree with the purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, you have a group that's paying taxes and they want to, there could be a little bit of a benefit coming back to them by creating visits and creating whatever it happens to be. I think that's a good idea. Like, my only thing that I think we need to do is in terms of, we just need to clarify what the committee structure is, what the purpose is. That's it. And bring it back. And it could be exactly the same as it is today. And then it's clear. Because it's not clear.
And again, it's not a big deal. But, I mean, we just have to amend the bylaws.
So how do we get to that point then?
Well, what I would like to see, and I don't know if this is the right direction or not, but if the DMC committee could, sooner than later, like I'm not saying tomorrow, but get together your terms of reference that you've already, he seemed to be like, he wasn't against ratifying them, but I think they need to be like fixed, and then you guys can, ratify it at your meeting, comes to council, then we can say, or it goes to Graham first. Graham can say, what, maybe want to change this or this or this. We can have a look at it at another committee of the whole, and then we can say, come the same, looks good, I want this, and then.
So is there anything that council would like me to take back to the DMC, like in terms of what should be on it, in terms of reference? Like I just lost.
Well, isn't it in that, it was in that report.
It's in,
Yeah.
On the previous one, yeah, right, and that's fine. But is that what?
Yeah, I just want a clear mission statement that says exactly, obviously it can be a little broad in things you can fund, but what types of things that, area you're funding and who's on it? Is it a member of the Rotary? Is it a hoteler? Is it not? Is it, if no person shall be found from the following, then this is who will.
And I also think, Chad, from what my memory being on that committee, we need to take it as maybe establish it more. Maybe we've got a new group there, more than just a grant stamping committee that needs to just approve a grant, but can bring ideas forward.
Yeah,
Right? And because when I shared that stuff that Trevor shared with me and others with you, which sort of, now when I was listening to Dave, sort of lines up with what we tried to do before, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so, it's the same type of deal.
And also too, like in the terms, again, I'm producing more work, it just be, let's brag about, we have granted, $50,000, like every whatever period, that you should have, whatever, in your grant processing, there should have been like 8 projects, okay? Here's the projects council that we've all, even though we've done it in a resolution, in their grants that they got, tell them to send you pictures back, proof that you did it, and then present that to council. These are the 8 projects. Put it in the paper, put it on the website. These are the things that are happening, because we don't do that enough too. Sometimes, not that it has to be written in print before the committee does it, but it's a nice reminder. Hey, we haven't heard from the committee, they should do the quarterly report or mid-year report or.
So we are not wanting to amend
Well,
the
You're
current
gonna
bylaw?
have to.
And if we are, then we need proof.
You don't have to amend the accommodation tax
Yeah,
bylaw.
no,
You don't need to touch the accommodation tax bylaw to do this.
we would have to create probably a definition mark committee bylaw to establish that group and outline kind of how it works.
Which it was done about one time already, it's bylaw 4554 or something. It's already there.
Well, it seems like when you look at your history that, well done, Jen, like, it seems like this is, the group has kind of turned itself over a few times with regards to the makeup. Where somebody has a new idea, right, in 2016, looks like they had like Rotary, CRC, you know, Travel Manitoba, which was North, Kinsman, and Hotel. They did that in 2016.
But it was never formally approved, like it was just, that's what the committee had themselves established, it was never taken any further.
But isn't it,
That's why I kind of mentioned, you know, why can't they just be citizens at large? Why do they need
Right.
to be
They can be whatever you guys
specific?
decide they want, right? Yeah. And honestly, if you're gonna go this route, I feel like you wanna loosen the restrictions more than
Yes.
not, because it's hard to change bylaws.
I agree.
Let's put them in a way that you still get to approve them.
Yeah.
So, you know.
No, I agree with you, Graham. I mean, easier and simpler, more
You
than.
can just do it through a resolution.
Because there looks like there's been lots of discussions over the, and it was resolved that the council appoint these people again. And one of them was the town of the Pod Council, the Pod CRC, hotel owners, citizen at large, Kinsman, Travelers Festival, and Rotary. So it looks like somebody was trying to set some sort of structure at one time. Makeup. And that's my only thing, is that if that's how you've been saying how you want it to operate, and then all of a sudden you don't want to operate it that way, we should just be clear on how it's supposed to be, right? It's what you practice usually becomes the law, how you operate.
Those user groups, were they excluded from applying for grants then? Since they had somebody sitting on there, like trappers, for example?
No, there's still a,
They were
there's still
still
a mechanism there,
allowed
it's
to.
quorum, right? Still is quorum.
It's actually their honor public or the officer. Hey, we're.
And then if you even look at, actually, if you look at February 12th,
I mean, you know, I agree. Hey, we can come in.
but Graham, you're still following that same structure, because if you look at February 12th, you got the Rotary, Council Rep, TPCRC, Citizen at Large, and Kinsman.
No, again, that's the question. There's nothing holding you guys to that structure.
Oh, I'm not saying we should, but it's, I'm just saying if it didn't appear that we want to have it like that. But if we're all of a sudden saying the hotelier is not part of that group, but you practice that all the way through,
Past practice becomes law.
yeah, like it's, no, it's not, I know that's not in this.
I know, but
you know.
I think some of them make sense. I'm not saying, you just gotta be watch out. I know it's a small community, it's whatever. But like, for example, if you had 4 people, whether you're a counselor or not, on the town of the ball, it looks like now you're trying to fund projects that you don't want to be funding out of your own tax dollars. Seriously, let's get the TMC to pay for it so we don't have to build a park. It kind of, again, it may not be that way, and most people may not care, but it kind of looks like you're filling you're stacking the deck to get it is what you want. So that's why a good variety is always nice. I'm not saying you have to hold yourself by whatever, and again, my council has to approve it.
My question is though, if Dave Noble and Kent Whaley were not on the committee today, would we be looking for a TPCRC rep and a Rotary rep? And if the answer is no, then I don't know why we have them identified as that in the minutes and all that. And it should be 7 citizens at large. Wherever they come from, that's fine. They could come from a hotel owner, it could come from a lawyer, it could come from wherever, like, it doesn't matter.
I don't know. Part of me is none of my business, I guess, and the other part is I'd like to see what the DMC
Yeah.
thinks about it.
Oh,
Because
I see in the comments of
Yeah,
traffic.
because I see the rationale is that the Rotary's got projects and ideas and things that they have money for. So if they go and say, hey, yeah, that sounds a great idea, we could be the 4th group in on that. I'll go bring that back to the
Yeah.
Rotary group.
No,
Because they heard about the grant from there. So there's some synergies and things there that make sense. But, I mean, I know what you're saying. What happens if no one from Rotary or Kinsman are even interested? Are you now? Or you get someone that's there that doesn't really want to be there?
but what I'm saying too, though, is that if we're being consistent, then if you go back and look in 2016, there was a position by a hotel owner. So, should there still be a position by a hotel owner? Doesn't matter to me. I personally, I'm just saying that if I'm looking at it, and I say, you tell me, Kent Whaley's no longer wants to be it, so we're going to look for somebody else from Rotary, which I think is a great idea, Rotary's good. Then why wouldn't you do the same thing for the hoteliers? And if everybody says, I'm not interested, then that's different, right?
Well, that's the situation we're in now.
Right, okay.
So,
So you've asked 2, they've said no, so possibly there's 2 more to ask. Is that something that we're going to request at EMC, that they
No, I'm
go
not
on
saying
and ask
that.
for more hoteliers?
No, I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate a little bit and say, let's just be consistent on what we're doing.
But I guess
But that's what my question
no,
is.
but what we are
You're-
saying
You're
is-
wanting consistency.
But we can't ask them to do that anyway, Carrie, because there's only one bylaw, and that's 4535 that they go by. They don't have any terms of reference that have been approved by council. So that's what we're saying. Ask the DMC to come up with something that they feel that they would want council to approve, and that they would feel comfortable going by, because obviously they're using it anyway. Let's formalize it, not box yourselves into a corner with having these big time restrictions.
Yeah.
very narrow.
But keep it, but yet have something that they can go by, you know?
No, I agree, Trevor. So, I think that's what we should do.
For sure, I'll bring it.
They'll
Through
take
the
that to
DMC.
the DMC, or is it going to go through Graham?
Right.
Will it go through Chad, or will it go through you
For what?
to address DMC on this issue?
All right, whatever, doesn't matter.
Well, Chad's around.
Chad's the rep, if he wants to do it, he's comfortable.
Oh,
I can tell you something. The only other thing I want to add to this is it'd be nice to have the administrator references some operating procedures for these guys and how they do things, because it'd be nice to
There is.
clarify that as well.
There actually is.
Well, again,
There is a, if you look, there's a.
Yeah, no, I know.
Presentation.
I just mean like, while we're talking about,
Yeah.
we're just talking about candidates now, I'd like to see some of that in there too. I know, we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
But there is an actual operating manual for the DMC. Do you see that?
Yeah,
I heard about that.
It's changed though. There's some changes to make, so.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys comfortable? You want to talk more?
So, just the last thing, what are we doing with that?
Okay, great.
It's already approved. It's
Okay.
approved.
So I guess that's the question, like, I don't see why we would, I mean, unless it was contrary to
Yeah.
the bylaw suggested.
Yeah.
Is anybody arguing that that's the case?
No.
Are you?
That the Aplasco Trails grant was contrary to what the wording in the current bylaw?
No.
If that's the argument, if it doesn't fit in there, you guys, based on precedence, can say like, hey, no. But the, you know, precedence here has been, the approved stuff we pay. And if it fits within that guideline, we really have no reason to object.
I guess one of my things is though, when those grants come, can they just not go to committee of the whole first, rather than council? Because like, you know, here it is, you're at council, now you're reading it out, and I don't know, and so if,
Council doesn't get to approve
We
it.
didn't even see it, it was just a check.
Yeah, it's just a
Council
check.
doesn't get to approve it.
So you're saying you just want to talk about it more as a publicized thing, like more than anything?
well, just to talk about it, I guess, I don't know, it was kind of seemed like, I don't know, I mean, I know it's already approved and all that kind of stuff.
But it's
just-
not council's grant to approve. It belongs to
that money's given away.
Council doesn't get a say in it.
that money's gone. Like, it's,
So that if we all said no to the resolution, what happens?
there's no resolution.
Like, if you didn't
Well,
approve
that's
it,
right, yeah.
the only thing you could do is not approve the payment, which would be contrary to what we've done in the past, and that would eliminate.
I'm thinking of the appointment though.
Yeah, for the
And
appointment.
that we can still do, that can come wherever we want.
Okay,
You're almost at the top.
I'll catch up. I'll catch up. I'll catch up.
Elevator just about there, but
Okay, so we
trying to remind you of chapter
Well, let's not get on that.
for myself.
Yeah. It's a good thing I don't have to go back to that meeting as we might get it all mixed up. So what we're doing.
That's what they said. He must go back from there.
Gary's coming to the next meeting.
That was a really good discussion, guys.
I don't hear it.
Okay,
Doesn't say. Are you?
Where are we, Graham?
1.3. Well, maybe, again, maybe somebody can summarize what at the end of that discussion was to,
That's okay.
no, but you should still know it. So, based on, discussion was to go back to the DMC, get a copy of their terms of reference, have something to discuss further.
Accessible parking spot request.
Yeah, so there is a bid there, 240 Edwards Avenue, supporting the plan. They're having problems for accessibility with some of their clientele. It's kind of boxed in on the corner. I don't think you guys can visualize it by the provincial building there. It used to be that ASCII building. So I think what they want to do is they want to have a designated spot for people that are handy capable, and it'll make those people be able to access their service instead of having to park way down the block and 2 feet of snow. Normally, again, I don't know what the history is. I don't think we approve a lot of these, but this one seems, it seems like it's very rare. Remember the ASCII building? On the corner of, well, the provincial building, and there's a school, and then there's that ASCII building, just between the two provincial buildings.
Just how do you just be devil's advocate? So we approve this one, and let's just say 3 places downtown, say, yeah, we got a lot of people that we can't get in either.
I Googled 240 Edwards Avenue, and that's.
It's on 3rd Street. It's kitty corner from there down.
Okay,
Maybe you're right on it.
when I Googled 240 Edwards Avenue, that's
It's on the Edwards?
next door to the accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right beside Mike Carey.
Yeah,
Oh, it's got it lost. I got all my addresses.
but there's the Lido.
Yeah, 240 Edwards is right next to Mike Carey.
Oh, yeah. So it's, again, the parking's an issue, they're looking for, I was thinking of the ASCII.
Yeah, I was on the same page.
So then, in front of the Lido, there is a loading zone that's there. And then we're going to have,
Okay. What are you saying, Carey? I'm sorry?
so in front of the Lido, there is a loading zone. Is that a loading zone or no parking? Because there's 2 signs.
Yeah, I think it's
Drop off parking, I think drop off so you can get into the theater.
And then, so what's the size? Is it the size of 1 vehicle? Is it the size of 2 vehicles? Is it the size of the storefront?
Just be one vehicle.
1 vehicle? So
Have
it
to
would be
accommodate
the whole
your-
size of the storefront?
But what is it, what's there?
It's supported employment, so it's a nonprofit, an extension of the Paw Association for Human Development, and they're an employment agency for people with disabilities. Specifically.
Yeah, so you've got the Lido Theater, and then you have Mike Carey, and then they're in between.
Oh.
Right.
But
There used to be a taxi stand.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that,
Yeah. Is
So
the
they're an
taxi stand still
employment
there?
agency for people with disabilities.
That's,
Yes.
So
So then-
it's direct.
Okay, so then okay, I didn't.
Sorry.
Okay. No, I didn't.
That's where you guys are looking at the wrong address there.
No.
you got one that building where the taxi stand used to be, it's still
I Googled that, I think that's where that is.
put legal aid down there?
Yeah.
That's next door? Okay.
So really, there's the whole space at the line already, like yours.
No.
But it's not parking,
No.
There's no parking there.
It's no parking, it's a no parking space.
Yeah, no parking.
I don't have any problem with that.
Typically, we do that case by case, so again, your question about what happens next time.
Yeah.
You can say yes, you can say no.
Well, but I mean, if they've got that, I just think, it's pretty easy rebuttal, hey, they're, like, it's specifically for people with disabilities.
exactly.
So,
Jen, if they pick up and leave, does that spot automatically disappear?
We can do that, yeah?
Because just in case.
Because it's
they
kind of
have
going
to
with
leave,
business.
you know?
Yeah, we can make that part of it.
Okay, some updates. Garbage collection landfill.
So we've been reaching out to a few companies here and to the province as well to try and get some traction on support for the study. We haven't gotten anything back yet, just had a few conversations. And then the province, we're talking about compliance and make sure that they fits with that level too. We've reached out and we're waiting to hear back.
On the garbage collection landfill issue, are there any discussions between the town of the Paw in any shape, form, department, personnel, talking to OCN on the regional landfill?
Not since the last time we talked about this, which was last year. I know that, what's his name, superintendent over at OCN. John Jenkins is mentioned a few things here and there, Sam, but I don't think since the last time we talked.
So we're proceeding with our, okay. Do we have to share that message with staff?
What's that?
At this time, there is no discussion about a regional landfill and we're pursuing on our own?
Well, I mean, again, if they come back to the table to talk to council,
Well, if they come back.
we can certainly discuss that too. Yeah.
So the discussion that was brought up earlier with the engineering being part of the recycling, why, is that just the engineering firm
So-
doing what they were originally told to do?
I believe that that's part of it. John was invited to a recycling board meeting, which he came to, and he expressed that he wanted some additional information from the recycling center, and that he wanted the recycling component to have the input of the recycling board and the management of the recycling center included in their engineering study.
I mean, if everything was done by, it makes sense, right? They're very similar in how they work. There's efficiency.
I don't know, I just don't know if there's more that we should be doing, I don't, what official capacity have we been let know that we're not part of the regional waste disposal? Like, have we received a letter from ISC or OCN or anybody that has said that we're not continuing down this path with Town of the Paw as part of their regional waste disposal?
They asked us,
Well, we attended that meeting. You and I attended that meeting. Rod was there and Jerry. And that was last summer, fall,
Yeah.
right? And the chief and council made it clear that the regional landfill is their project. The money from ISK is their money. And they will do what they do.
But I didn't want board with.
Yeah, the board thing, the whole discussion, I think that was off the table.
I mean,
Some
obviously,
timeline on our, no, like, how much time do we have left?
flexible.
No, like, legally, like, do we have, like, is there 2 or 3 years left there? Is there a year left there?
Again, it's, I don't know how to answer that question. I think if we
half of that voluntary garbage at the regional?
Yes, we will reach a capacity limit. I think, right now they're looking the other way probably because there's no options. I mean, everybody's in the same boat we are. Everybody's full.
So I guess what I'm getting at is what Chad said, we haven't been told, we've been told that we're not necessarily going to be partners as guys in the last meeting, but we haven't been told we're out of it. Is that just because they're just gonna send us a letter and say, hey, by the way, as of this date, you need to come up with alternative places to put your garbage, and by the way, there's a nice dump right over there, so that's where you're gonna put it?
On the OCN dump side, they don't want us as partners, but they would accept us as clients. And again, that meeting, everyone paid the same fee. That wasn't the issue. The concern was governance. Our role was to be in that without the measure of control. Right? If they open their landfill, I'm going to assume that there's going to be pressure on us to close ours from the province at some point, unless we have arranged for an alternative for an expansion.
And that's one of the reasons why back in September or October, I brought up about us going from the 4 bags back down to 2 to try and help save part of that life, but if it's not,
Well, the longer it takes us to develop some options, the fewer options we're going to have.
Yes.
So we've made this a priority to find out what our options are. We need to find out what our options are. Okay. Refurbishing the parks.
There's not much to say there. Pulled the ice out of the rink last week, so we're going to start repurposing some guys to see if we can get organized before then. Obviously everything's buried in the snow, but some of the fencing and like that, things like that. We'll start ordering stuff that we can.
Should do a playground equipment assessment.
what I would like is just the map of the town hall. And then where every single park is, make an X on it. Please and thank you. Yeah,
Does it have to be an X?
yes.
Circle.
It has to be in one.
X designates council.
And that way, if I know exactly where everyone is, then my brain can check and figure out, okay, that's really part this and that.
You can borrow my kids for the weekend if you want.
Or you're
My kids for the weekend.
They'll tell you where the parks are.
I'm pretty sure I know where they all are, but if everything is down like that, then we can kind of see who has ownership of those parks. We own them, yes, but we've had sponsorship, I guess.
For sure. And it'd be nice to see where they all are in relation. I'd like to see them as circles, not X's, but.
I prefer that.
I think we should look forward to the other one.
Okay, high-level infrastructure plan.
And not much to update there. We talked about it a little bit of capital. We'll look at this. It'd be nice to get some money first to get this possible. We go on with it.
Okay, Vaxport, let's see, I'll just speak on this. Okay, well, I can give you what I know, and Graham, if you've got any updates, you can chime in. So the province of Manitoba, so Vaxport, for who don't know what Vaxport is, that is the vaccination site in Thompson at the airport, and they're calling it Vaxport. They're having a few challenges with infrastructure, but they're dealing with it. It'll be operational, and they're hoping that they'll be receiving vaccine mid to end of March.
So, just so I'm clear, so they want to do Vaxport in Thompson,
Yes.
which will be vaccinating citizens from the town of Vaughan area.
So that's what I'm getting to. So the province of Manitoba has made a decision that people who live north of the 53rd parallel, which we are, will have the opportunity to be vaccinated in Thompson. It's the Pfizer vaccine, so it needs the cooling situation, right? So they'll have the opportunity. The criteria are healthcare workers, public or personal care home residents, and residents 70 years of age and older. A lot of the healthcare workers have been done. I believe the personal care home residents have been done, so that would mean that the citizens 70 years and older will have the opportunity. They indicated 550 people approximately in our region fall into that age category, and they'll start to work it out. The province has so the discussion come about with travel. It's a 4-hour drive there, a 4-hour drive back, a few hours in Thompson. It's 11, 12-hour day. The province has decided to arrange air transportation. So they will fly the folks up, 1-hour flights, an hour in Thompson, flying back.
That's not gonna cost anything.
No, it's very reasonable.
You get a lot of people there.
Our role in this is we need a volunteer, and we kind of volunteer Bill. We need a volunteer to start developing the availability list, the passenger list. And Bill would be a good one because it needs to be a senior. Well, it shouldn't be. Being a senior citizen, right?
Being in the high 80s.
Laurie Forbes will be leading the charge for the Arm of Kelsey, and Bill will be doing it for the town of the Paw. Miss anything?
Just an advertising component, maybe just in terms of getting our word out, we talked a little bit about something on our website, something.
Yeah. I'm scheduled to go on the radio tomorrow morning to do a discussion with the radio. Facebook, the media, I'm sure will pick this up, the newspaper.
Because they promised on that call with me that they would get back to me with more details. They never did, today. He said out there that they're still working on the details. They don't always do that. And they're also considering super sites around the province, which all have one. And so the timing of those may play into this as well.
Yes, and again, I want to make sure so the public hears me in case anybody's listening. We've got a lot of visitors tonight, viewers, Jim. The Vaxport is in Thompson for the Pfizer vaccine. That does not mean that the town of the Paw will not be a vaccination site for vaccines such as the Moderna. So just so everybody is clear on that, we're not saying that everybody has to go to Thompson. This is just an opportunity for people who qualify, who are 70 years of age and older, to go to Thompson and get the Pfizer vaccine. There will still be vaccinations in the Paw. No one has given a clear date or timeline as to when that will be. Everybody is aware by the media that there have been delays and arrivals and delays, but bear with us while we work through this. So it's kind of good news.
There's supposed to be a media release coming in from the province on it too, or here, Lord, kind of
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And then, I would, like I said, I would anticipate that the newspaper will watch this video and prepare a story. Any questions, comments, confusion? No? All right. So that takes us all the way through to a couple of in-camera items that we have.
Result that we now move ourselves into the camera portion of committee